Yesterday, FIFA drew the names out of the hat for the Club World Cup. The question is, did the draw get you excited for the FIFA Club World Cup?
Did it get me excited? You're talking to me personally, Mr. Kerr. I'm the one that has to answer this question. For everybody or just for myself?
The colloquial you.
The colloquial, okay. The royal you. Man, so I am
You're a
dyed
skeptic.
in the wool FIFA hater. I hate FIFA. I hate. I don't like using the word hate, generally speaking, but I hate FIFA. FIFA is trash. FIFA is terrible. FIFA has not done good things for the game of soccer. They have enriched themselves. They have squeezed every penny they can out of the game. They have leveraged the sport to allow for governments and organizations to exploit the game, to sports wash. I mean, it's ridiculous. I hate FIFA, and I'm old school. I go back to Blatter. I go back to Warner. I go back to Blazer. R.I.P. I'm a
Bowels.
hater from way back in the day. Way back in the day. Okay. And so I come into this Club World Cup the ultimate cynic about whether this is going to work and whether it's going to be good and whether or not, Gianni Infantino is going to get his way and this is going to become a truly important event on our calendar every 4 years. I believe this is a very much a World Cup situation, and this is every 4 years. I say all of that to acknowledge that when I see the groups and I see River Plate in a group with Inter Milan, when I see PSG grouped with Botafogo and the Seattle Sounders, when I see Boca Juniors next to Benfica and Bayern Munich, I get a little excited. I have a little bit of a bubbling of interest as a soccer fan. This is the kind of stuff that when you're a kid, you kind of do this, right, in your head, or you maybe you even write it out. And I remember coming up with fake football leagues and stuff like that and creating my own teams and all of that. The extension, the real world extension of this, and the thing that you might do in a FIFA video game or a whatever, EAFC or whatever it's called now, is something like this. Like, hey, I really want to put these teams that never play each other up against one another in a tournament. And Johnny's done it. FIFA's done it. And I have to admit, I'm a little bit intrigued by this.
When you said it, Johnny did it, I was imagining like a George W. Bush mission accomplished banner, sort of an image of Johnny, you did it. I don't think anyone believes you, but congratulations, buddy. Bless your heart.
He is the worst. He is so much worse than Sepp Blatter because he's more diabolical. Blatter was a clown. He was a useful idiot for lots of people who were passing along paper bags full of cash, Jack Warner included. Gianni Infantino was diabolical. Like, he is the Bond villain. Sepp Blatter was comic relief compared to what Gianni Infantino is. And again, I don't want to give the man any credit, and I don't think this is good for the players. And I'm still upset about Saudi Arabia in 2034, which is a different story, but connected.
That's confirmed, right? That's confirmed.
They're gonna all approve it. All the European countries are getting in line to vote by assent because Johnny wants it, and they're all getting cleared out of the way because the money is too big. And they're all getting their back scratched by all of this. I mean, the other part about the Club World Cup that is fascinating, and we'll look at these groups individually in a second, Rob, but the other part of this is there was no TV partner. They had nowhere to broadcast the games. We're a year out, and they didn't have a TV deal, and Johnny didn't want to package it with everything else that FIFA does, right? They didn't want to throw it into the World Cup package or whatever. They wanted to sell it on its own, and they wanted to bring in big, big money. And when they couldn't do that, what happened is Saudi Arabia said, okay, and this is the PIF and everything they're doing to sports wash in Saudi Arabia, you're going to give us the World Cup in 2034. So in order to do you a solid for that favor that you're doing for us, we will invest in DAZN, DAZN, for anybody who doesn't know, that streaming platform of sports, I guess is what it is.
Not AutoZone. Not AutoZone.
DAZN, which is the dumbest name ever created for anything that does what it does. DAZN? DAZN. What we're talking about 90s hip hop. Even us 90s hip hop fans would not be like, let's call it DAZN. That's terrible. So the Saudis are investing in DAZN because they're cash strapped. They don't have any money. And the DAZN is buying the rights to the Club World Cup to make Gianni Infantino happy. They're going to be broadcasting all these games for free on DAZN because that's what Johnny wants, because he thinks this can be, the biggest event in club soccer. It's a wild situation, Rob.
That broadcast announcement, seeing the logos for the Club World Cup and DAZN together, kind of gave me a headache. I gotta say, I was like, it looked like like an esports tournament announcement or something like that. Like, what
Yeah.
what are these logos? What are these supposed to mean? This is supposed to be a big deal, and I don't know what these logos
And
are.
we haven't even talked about the shit show, excuse my language, that was the draw in Miami yesterday. I mean, FIFA does everything way too much, like just way too much. So I didn't catch it, but I know that the president-elect had a message that was played by Gianni Infantino, who called him the president. I guess he is a president until he is the president again. Also, I guess Ivanka was there. I've seen images of Ivanka being there for some reason. And then we had Gloria Estefan was the one doing part of the draw. And there was a second stage where Andres Cantor was directing other people to do part of the draw. So it was this very convoluted, messy situation. Alessandro Del Piero was standing at this console, behind this console, this giant thing that looked like he was in charge of some spaceship that was charting the far reaches of the galaxy. And he's the one that had to say every time a team was pulled, well, that team can't be in that group. They got to be in this group in the other place because we have rules about who can play whom in the group stage. It's just nuts. This whole thing is nuts. But again, I see the teams, particularly some that I know but I don't see a lot of, and I'm like, that's kind of interesting to me.
Well, to your point of like you dreamed of these, like, making up leagues and stuff growing up. And it is exciting to see all these different various badges from across the world in groups together. But when you put it in reality, it doesn't really seem like it should or can or will work, just from the labor perspective of
right.
There can't be a summer tournament every single year. Teams already complain about doing exhibitions across the world in America and Asia, but actually competing for prizes and money and all those more games.
This is on the same calendar as the World Cup. Every 4 years, Johnny and FIFA want to do this. So I guess that's some sort of argument against this being too much.
Yeah, but there's the World Cup, the Euros or whatever, the regional tournament. So
absolutely. And it's not like but remember, again, this is about the battle. Ultimately, this comes down to the battle between FIFA and UEFA for supremacy in terms of who controls the biggest chunk of world football cash. UEFA's got the Euros, UEFA's got the Champions League. FIFA's got the World Cup, and now they got this, and this is what their answer to the Champions League is. This is Johnny, again, saying, okay, Alexander and UEFA, you can't have all of the club money because we also organize club football, or we're also overarching authority in club football, particularly outside of Europe, and that's why you lean into the South American clubs like Boca Juniors and River Plate. I also want, just as a quick primer on this tournament, for anybody who is still kind of catching up, because the draw makes it feel more real than it ever has. We have, 12 venues in 11 cities that will host games. Nothing has been scheduled yet. We don't know where any of these things are going to happen in terms of these groups, but you've got Mercedes-Benz Stadium in Atlanta, Lincoln Financial Field in Philadelphia, Lumen Field in Seattle, Hard Rock Stadium in Miami, Camping World Stadium in Orlando. Also, Orlando City's Inter and Co Stadium will host some sort of games. Geodis Park in Nashville, home of Nashville SC. TQL Stadium in Cincinnati, home of FC Cincinnati. Audi Field in D.C., home of D.C. United. And I think that's it. I think I've named all 12 of them. So there's some MLS venues, but there's also some bigger NFL venues in there as well, as they try to maximize attendance for some of these bigger games. And then we get to the groups. Now this is we have badges here. Do you know all these badges off the top of your head? Do you know them all, Rob?
Most of them, but not all of them.
Okay. Who's in Group A? Just let's just go.
I'm gonna have to get my glasses on. It's a little bit small on my screen. Max. Okay, so we got Palmeiras. Is that Porto? And then the fourth one is Inter Miami, of course. The third
Yes.
one, I don't know off the top of my head. I want to say it's a little grainy on my thing. Is that Arabic script on that badge?
It is. It is Al Ali of Cairo of Egypt. That is an Egyptian side. That'll be in Group A. So that's pretty good. You got 3 out of 4 off the dome. I appreciate that. All right, Group B. What do we got?
Of course, this is the easiest one probably of the bunch, but Paris Saint-Germain, Atletico Madrid, and then I think we this is a little bit of cheating because we talked about this third one beforehand, but is the shield with the stars at Botafogo,
Mm-hmm.
and
That's right.
then the Seattle Sounders, of course, that fourth
Yeah,
team.
Botafogo is the newly crowned Copa Libertadores champions of South America, first ever Copa Libertadores championship in their history. If you are interested in Botafogo, look into their owner, American John Textor, who has been at points in his ownership of Botafogo on the field yelling at referees. So interesting guy. Group C, Rob. What can you tell me there?
I know the first one. There's Bayern, and then the third one, Boca Juniors. Fourth one is familiar. I want to say that's another Portuguese team. Is that
Yes,
Sporting
yes.
Lisbon?
No, try again. One more. One more. Another
Por-
Portuguese team, big one, but not
it's not
Sporting.
Porto, not
Nope.
Sporting. It's
Nope.
the third biggest team in Portugal.
Well, they might argue with that. It's Benfica. That's
Benfica,
Benfica.
not the third, the
Okay.
third big three. I should
The
say.
third
No,
of the big three.
I don't want to disparage Benfica ultras. Don't come for me. My apologies. And in that second team, I'm gonna take a pot shot. That's like at Australian Coast FC.
Okay, that is Auckland City. So you're in the right part of the world. That is Auckland City of New Zealand in Group C with Boca, Benfica, and Bayern.
The New
In
Zealand champs.
New Zealand champs, they get in. Group D, they're going to get waxed, but Group D, who you got?
The Mexican team Leon on the fourth, and obviously Chelsea. The
Mhm.
first two I recognize, but I'm not going to pretend I know them. I want to say the first one is an Argentine team, one of the big
Okay.
Argentine sides.
No, the first one is Flamengo, so that is a Brazilian team.
I knew it was South American.
Flamengo is very notable for the black and red stripes. That is like their look. The second one, I'd be shocked if you knew this one off the top of your head. I certainly
LOE.
didn't. No, that is Espérance de Tunis. So that is a Tunisian team in the Club World Cup.
So
Yeah,
we're getting to learn new teams, or at least new to me teams. That's cool.
Yeah. We are more worldly because of the Club World Cup. All right, let's get through this rapidly because the show is going to come to an end. Group E, who you got?
I got 2 out of 4. I got River Plate and Inter there. I don't know the middle two. I want to say the third one is a Mexican team, but I can't.
It is. The third one is Monterrey. There is that. The second one is Urawa Red Diamonds out of Japan. That is the second one.
Ooh, fun.
Group F. Group F.
I only know Dortmund in this one.
Only know Dortmund. Okay, that first one is Fluminense, so another big Brazilian team. The third one is Ulsan out of South Korea, and then Mamelodi Sundowns, a South African team in the Club World Cup, is that fourth one, the yellow and green thing, and that is a finger going like this, or a hand rather going like this on the badge. Why? I don't know. I will look it up and learn more.
Do the Sundowns, did they avoid playing games at like 7, 8 o'clock at night? You know, they might lose their way a little bit.
I don't know. I don't know why that they're called the Sundowns, and I will say that sundown has negative connotations in America that I don't think we should get into. So let's go to Group G. What you got for Group G?
All right, another 2 out of 4 for me without being able to really think about it too hard. City and Juventus, obviously. Who are those middle two in Group G?
Yeah, they're small on our screen. I know. Group G is Manchester City, Wydad AC, Wydad AC out of Morocco, so another African side, and
Why,
then
Mom?
Al Ain out of the United Arab Emirates, the Pro League in the UAE. Yes, they have a they have a purple. I like that purple color scheme. All right, Group H.
Obviously, Madrid, amongst the teams that's included, we haven't talked about the teams that aren't on this list, but Madrid, Ancelotti didn't want to be there. Apparently, they'll be there. And in Salzburg, I don't know the middle two badges. I don't know those middle two clubs either.
Okay, so we have Al Hilal, the Saudi Arabian representative in this tournament. That is, by the way, if you're like, which club is that? Who do they have that I would know when they went and spent all that money? This is Neymar's team. Al Hilal is Neymar's team. Ruben Neves, Alexander Mitrovic, Sergei Milinkovic-Savic is on this team. Malcolm plays there as well. So this is Neymar's Saudi Arabian team, that blue S situation. I guess that's an S.
Yeah.
And then you have Pachuca. Pachuca is that third one. Yeah.
I've learned that I need to brush up on my South American and Middle Eastern badges.
Yes, right. You do. That we all do, and this is going to help us, I think. I will say a couple of notes. You mentioned who's not here. Liverpool obviously not here. Arsenal not here. Manchester United not here. Who else is not here? AC Milan not here. I'm not sure that they wouldn't deserve to be, but just a big club that's not
Barcelona.
in it. Barcelona not in it.
You'd
Obviously,
think that was
a big
probably one of the top 2-3 teams they probably would have wanted from the get-go.
Yeah. Yeah, if you ask Johnny, who else would you want to be here, and why didn't you manipulate the situation to let them in? It's be Barcelona. I think would be probably top of that list. In terms of the
Luke in the chat said Columbus.
Yeah, that they're obviously the reigning MLS Cup champions, and they're not involved in the tournament. This is one of those things where the qualification happens a couple years ahead of the tournament, and you qualify through means that are, again, Miami.
And you make it up as you go.
Miami gets in because FIFA's like, yeah, they won the points, they get to go, and obviously it's having Lionel Messi in the tournament makes sense for them. So everything feels fake because it's new. And if they keep doing things that feel like they're manipulating for money, no one's going to like this. Even if you like the idea of these teams facing off against one another. Again, the idea of, say, a Botafogo going up against a PSG is fascinating. But we also don't know what what players these teams are going to bring to this tournament with all this stuff you just mentioned. And I'll also point out just another little wrinkle. Club Leon and Pachuca, two Mexican sides involved in the competition, Group D and Group H, are owned by the same people, by Grupo Pachuca. And right now, there's a little bit of a controversy over whether or not they can both participate because there are FIFA rules around this, right? It's why you had to get the waiver when Salzburg and Leipzig are both in a competition, those kind of things. I think Manchester City's gone through this a little bit with the Girona situation this past Champions League. But the story right now is that Grupo Pachuca is going to put Leon up for sale, and they're hoping that that's enough to get FIFA to say, yeah, fine, you guys can both play in the tournament. So the sale will not be completed more than likely by the time we get to the tournament in 2025, but Grupo Pachuca will say, oh, no, we're divesting, it's okay. So I don't know exactly what's going to happen there, and there's been some talk about an MLS team potentially, or maybe even Club America replacing one of the Mexican sides if FIFA rules that they can't both play.
So lots of teams, 32 teams from across the world to come together for the most exciting, fraught, complicated tournament we've seen in recent times.
Yeah, it's kind of like we're kind of watching it like with this really like confused and questionable look on our face. It's like when you had that line at the top of the show that you always say, covering the world's favorite game from the world's most entertaining country. We say, this is the Club World Cup is coming. We don't exactly know.
Confusing, corporate-driven power money grabs is coming home. It's coming home.
Johnny with a bag of cash. What we didn't do, by the way, when we were talking about the draw, they did the official unveiling of the trophy, which you and I have already reviewed via their publication, their publicity video they put up on social media a couple weeks ago. We have a video for the Club World Cup trophy. Go look for it. It's got our faces like doing that. But Johnny was there, showing off this trophy. It is impressive looking, but I maintain that it looks like something out of a sci-fi movie, and I don't think you can actually hold it up over your head like a trophy is supposed to be held up over a captain's head, and I'm afraid somebody's going to lose a digit. That's
I
all
was
I'm
gonna say, did anyone pinch their fingers in the rotating parts of it?
I don't think anybody picked it up during the proceedings yesterday in Miami, which I think that would be a bad idea because I really don't know how you even get like where do you go and like things swing and then you're I broke my finger, it pinched it. I don't know, maybe it's metal, like it's made of solid stuff, could probably do some serious damage, Rob.
Well, let's hope for everyone's safety when that time comes, Jason. And we have run over. So I think whether we're ready to or not, our morning has been thoroughly kicked. So I want to say thanks for everyone for tuning in. Please be sure to subscribe to the YouTube channel. Follow us along on the social medias. Kick around on X, Instagram, and the Blue Sky.
Write us a
Sky. morningkickaround@gmail.com. Plenty to look forward to this weekend, right, Jason?
Absolutely. Big weekend to come. Obviously, MLS Cup final tomorrow. Looking forward to that. Should be intriguing out in Los Angeles. Thanks to Josh Guessman for coming on the show today.
Yeah, thank you, Josh. And thanks everyone for tuning in. We will see you with a new MLS Cup champion on Monday morning.